Helen Hartsmith here again from the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel. I hope you're having a good day. It's a good day. Let's just put it at that. So we're back in not quite the OG setup, but one of the OG setups for filming. I feel like I've got like a way different, like you're seeing me a lot differently. And so I'm trying to decide if I like it or not. What do you think? Do you like this angle? Do you like the background? Like I'm looking like what's even in the background. So we've got some Barbies you can almost see here. We've got library. We've got, we have awards here. If you're intrigued and want to know more about awards, then let me know. The Christopher Penczak shelf is behind me. I'm going to see what I like about this and whatnot. That's not what we're all here for. Oh, goodness. So I wanted to do a video that talks about the different crystal shapes, like specific shapes that you can purchase in crystal format. I want to talk about my favorites and why I like them. And as always, I will talk a little bit about pricing in part of that because, let's face it, we all are kind of on a dime anymore. And so, if I can pass along, prices that I pay for things or where you can get things for better prices, I am all about sharing that. So, yeah, so let's get into it. I've got a table full of yummy crystals here, and we're going to get into it. So let's tip you down. Okay, so here we are down on the table with some of my lovelies, some of my favorite friends here. So I guess what I should start off with, my favorite form of crystals would be in jewelry form. I have done a video where I've gone through my crystal jewelry, like the rocks and the crystals that I have that I wear in jewelry, including rings. And that's been a few years ago, maybe. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to look it up. I'll put a link in the description. So jewelry is my favorite way to wear crystals because to my favorite crystal form, because there's all kinds of shapes. There's all, you can have earrings, you can have rings, you can have necklaces and what have you. And it's something that you can take to you, day to day. And so that kind of so that's kind of like one of my favorites, but I didn't want to like throw a bunch of jewelry out here. What you do see is some of my favorites. I really love these round stone crystal bracelets. And I have them both in 6mm size round stones, and I have 8mm round stones. Now, I think the form of bracelets that I normally see the most often sold would be whatever size and shape of crystal on an elastic, a circle of elastic. And I know that that's really popular, but unfortunately for me, I'm larger than life. And so a lot of those elastic bracelets, they just don't fit. So those aren't a favorite for me. I have done a video on creating your own bracelets on memory wire, and that is a favorite of mine, and I do enjoy wearing the bracelets like that. But one thing that I was discovering with bracelets on memory wire is that if you were going for like maybe one circle around the wrist or a circle and a half, then if you talk with your hands, then they could fling off. And so that became kind of problematic. And so then I remembered these macrame style. So here we have a bracelet and the closure is a macrame, where you pull the stones and you can make it tighter. I like this form because you can literally fit like any size wrist for the most part, and I don't have an issue wearing these. The cool thing about this too is that no metal. So if you have metal allergies, then these are made from a cording. And I've been wearing these for quite a while. And so far, so good. I haven't had any breakage of the cord. Now, that doesn't mean that something like that can't or won't happen, but so far they've been wearing very well. The cool thing about these too is that they're really affordable. I have bought a majority, especially of these 6 mil stones. I have bought these from Amazon, and they will vary from stone to stone. And I have tourmaline, I have some dragon stone, I have some rutilated quartz, I have sunstone, I have hematite. These all I've purchased on Amazon, and they're going to be usually, especially the 6mm, they're probably going to be under $10. Now, some of these 8mm ones, like I think the moonstone, that one, I want to say was like maybe $12.99 or $13.99, but it really depends on the stone. And so of these bigger 8mm ones, the carnelian, moonstone, and larvakite, I've also purchased from Amazon. But I had a number of the 8mm that I had made on the memory wire. And since these fit so much better and weren't flying off my hand, I'm in the process of converting all of my 8mm over, and there are tutorials online that show you how to do that macrame knot so that you are able to close them like that. And it's really easy. It's really very easy. So I love bracelets like this. I actually have a selenite charging plate that I normally keep these on my altar, and then as I get ready for my day in the morning, I will kind of look at these and say, oh, I want to wear the rose quartz today, or you know, I really need some focus today, so I'm going to wear the carnelian, things like that. This is like, these are fantastic. They're so versatile. They wear really well. And you can stack them too. Like even with my, even with how big my wrists are, I'm able to wear like 2 to 3 without any issue, on both hands even. So it's very comfortable. So yes, one of my favorite shapes to work with. I also really love to have small crystals like this. I'm going to get a couple of each. These are actually some new crystals to my collection. So I like to get crystals that are this size, and I like to use them for crystal grid work. Now you can see here that I have both tumbled and raw pieces, and as I said, these are new to my collection. I was just at a rock show over the weekend. And here's where I want to give another tip about purchasing crystals. So I use things like this for crystal grid work. And so if you're doing crystal grid work, then you often need multiples of whatever crystal that you're working into your grid. If you saw my video on election day magic, then you'll see the grid that I did there. And I mean, I needed at least 4 of each that I put onto that grid. And so what I do when I buy stones like this, I tend to buy them in at least 4. Let's see, we've got lepidolite, we've got unakite, and we've got some raw pieces of apatite here. The cool thing about crystal grid work is you can use both polished and raw stones in those types of situations. Now, here's where we talk about price. Rock shows that are put on by rock clubs, if you happen to have rock clubs in your area, I have found that they tend to be the best places to buy and get great prices. So lepidolite tends to be, I hope I'm saying that right. I think some people might say lepidolite, same thing. This tends to be a little bit pricier of a stone. But I only paid $1. Yeah, I paid $1 each for these, and I didn't have small pieces of lepidolite to use in crystal grid work. So it was important for me to have this to add to my collection. I had some pieces of unakite, but the unakite was 50 cents a piece. And so that's great for this size. I was comfortable paying the $1 a piece for the lepidolite. And these apatite pieces, apatite can also be a pricey stone. Like, I've seen polished pieces of apatite that are slightly larger than these that would sell for $2 to $5 each. These little raw pieces were 25 cents a piece. So if you shop and you know like pricing and know what you're comfortable paying, you can get some really great deals. So I got 4 of these apatites, 4 of the unakite, and 4 of the lepidolite, and my total was like $7 because it was 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe it was $8 because these were 4 each, 4, 5, 6, no, it was $7 and I got 12 stones to add to my crystal grid collection. Now what I do with these guys is I will house these. I have a small set of the plastic drawers that you can buy. I think Sterilite is a brand that makes them. I will store them in small bags. I'll either use like the small organza bags, or I'll use like these little zip. I actually got one of these with the stones. I'm not a fan of storing in plastic like this, and I'm trying to convert, like I save all my little pouches from when I buy things, and I'm converting over to cloth. But I mean, in a pinch, then use the plastic. But because that keeps them all together, you can actually see through it and see what is in the bag and things like that. But then I organize them in those little drawers. And then when I need to do a crystal grid, I plan out what I'm going to do, what crystals I need, and then I pull them out. So these are very, very handy. And you can also use small pieces like this in charm bags. You can make little sachet charms with them, things like that. So it's really convenient to have small pieces like this in your collection and ready for whatever spell work you might want to do as well. So those are great prices. Love those. The next shape that I really like is towers. And towers, first of all, towers are really cool. I want to say that this was probably one of my first towers that I ever purchased, and I specifically wanted a large crystal, clear quartz crystal like this, again for crystal grid work. I will use a candle in the center, but a tower like this is a perfect directional crystal to put in the center of a grid to help take the energy that you're creating by the grid around it, and it will take that up to the higher realm to kind of disperse your intention out. So I like towers for that purpose. But they're also just beautiful to look at. Like, I really love, let me see if I can get that closer so you can see some of the markings in this particular quartz. They're really beautiful. And it's neat because there's different shapes. Like this one, it's a wider, tall variety. But then like this hematite is, let's see, this is more of like an 8-sided piece, and it's a lot thinner. And so I like that shape as well. And then I've got this labradorite. And one thing that I'm a sucker for is the shiny finish is great, but this is actually a matte finish. And I'm trying to like hold it and catch the flash that's in it. I love a matte finish in a lipstick. I love the fact that you can get matte finish in crystals, and I have a number of crystals that have a matte finish. I'm a super sucker for that. So, so I like to have crystals. I actually have a pair of crystals that I use for healing exercises. I like them because you can draw with them. Like you can take energy and you can direct it with that point. That's why, it's popular in the center of grids. But you can either draw energy away from you, or you can revert it and you can draw energy towards you. So it's a very helpful thing to use towers for that reason. So yes, I like those. Now, last but certainly not least, are spheres. Spheres are my favorite. It is the shape in my crystal collection that I have the most of. And they can also be pricey. So again, I can't stress this enough. It's about knowing what and where you can get good prices on things, and just being aware of things. This obsidian sphere is the largest sphere that I have. And I haven't held him in a while, and he is magnificent. The energy that comes off of this sphere is so enveloping, and it's protective, and it just like wraps you up in a lovely sweater type feeling. And I got this at a really cute little shop, and I only paid $75 for this guy. And usually something this size, you're at least in the $100, if not $100 plus range. And so again, it's about knowing what you can get where, kind of a thing. I love spheres because they fit nicely in your hand. Like even this Caribbean calcite, it just fits nicely in your hand, and there's a soothingness to holding a crystal. Now this one does have openings where you can see the druzy in, but generally the sphere is smooth all the way around. And so for me, it's very much a feeling of comfort that I get from holding spheres. And I think it's also interesting because there's definitely a planetoid feeling to holding something like this in your hand, and you can be very directional. And I think I've seen folks using spheres in the center of crystal grids as well. And so they can be a nice focal point, like if you're maybe doing something that has like a radiating effect, like if you want to bring calm to an entire space, then maybe something like a sphere would be a great focal point for a crystal grid. And I especially like little guys like this charoite. The little ones, yeah, they kind of remind me of marbles from when I was a kid and playing marbles at recess. But I almost feel like there's a concentration of energetic feeling that can come from the little ones that you might not expect. Yeah. And charoite, it's one of my favorite crystals to begin with. So yeah, I like the little ones because those you can like just curl up in your hand and share in their energy and share in their friendship. So yes, so here's a little sampling of my favorite crystal shapes. Okay, so I hope that was interesting for you. I, love crystals in all shapes and sizes, but these, I just wanted to share some of my favorites and why I liked them. And so I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this video or learned something from it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, there's this little square rectangle thing that says subscribe. Click on that bad boy if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so that you are alerted to when I upload a new video. That's always fun. What do you think about my favorite crystal shapes? Do I share some favorites with you? I would love to know what your favorites are, and if they're the same as mine or what have you. So put those comments in the comment section and we can hash it out, okay? So there's also going to be in the description box all the links for social medias and things like that. So be sure to check it out, okay? That's going to be it for now. But I've got lots more planned. So be sure you hang out and check back often, okay? Thank you so much for walking the path for a little while with me. Until next time, blessed be.